There's something to be said with how SuperM is labeled a supergroup on their Google search, because SuperM's legacy in my mind is that video of Kai misspelling the group's name. Hi everyone! Let's not beat around the bush, let's just get to it. Do you remember SuperM? Because the whole group feels like such a fever dream to me. Around 2019, SM Entertainment, one of the biggest entertainment agencies in South Korea, introduced a group they would consider the Avengers of K-pop. In the sense that the members are part of different groups and have their own solo adventures before they come together to form the ultimate group. These are not my words, a representative of theirs said this. This ultimate group is called SuperM, with the M standing for Matrix or Master. The group was announced at Capitol Congress 2019, not like Capitol Congress as in like White House or the Hunger Games Capitol, just Capitol Records. The big idea of the group is to have the most excellent people in vocals, rap, and dance in the SM Entertainment roster join forces. And so, SuperM was born. Its members are Baekhyun from EXO, Taemin from SHINee, Kai from EXO, Taeyong, Ten, Lucas, and Mark from NCT. These are not trainees making their debut, these are industry veterans who have experiences and established fan bases. SuperM debuted with the song Jopping because when we're jumping and we're poppin', we're jopping. Along with that song, they released an EP, and then they released an album, they toured, they had a virtual concert, they had a variety show, they even made an airplane safety instruction video. But then, where are they now? The group is not even on the SM artist page anymore, which tells me it's not going to be active anytime soon. Anyhow, I wanted to talk about this group and share my thoughts about why, despite being promoted as this supergroup, SuperM just became a blip in the history of K-pop. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts too, so if you have any opinions about SuperM, leave some comments down below. Engage with the video, guys. I would love that. I want to start off by talking about SuperM's music because this is a music group after all. The genre of music that SuperM releases can be considered performance music. I have mixed feelings about performance music, which I will talk about a little bit later, but I do think that some of SuperM's songs are not that bad. I particularly enjoy I Can't Stand the Rain and One, brackets Monster and Infinity. For the latter, I love that they have two tracks on the album, Monster and Infinity, and if you combine the two songs, it becomes one, Monster and Infinity. I thought the gimmick is really cool. Call me stupid, but I fell for it. I actually enjoyed that gimmick. There are other songs that I like are this cover of Dangerous Woman by Ariana Grande, but from the perspective of a man, and Wish You Were Here. In general, I don't mind the songs. Some of them are actually pretty good, although you might know from my EXO Next Door video that I really love Baekhyun's voice in general. But that is to say that SuperM's music is fine enough for me. I believe the reason that SuperM's music works is because I genuinely think they managed to put the best people into the same group. Sonically, the group sounds pretty good to me. The vocals are good, which is a given for SM groups, but the rap is also pretty good, which I think is SM groups' biggest weakness usually. And I think that is probably attributed to the fact that Mark is in the group, because before Mark left SM, Mark's probably one of the few people in SM who can actually rap and not just talk sing. I also think it's become this thing in K-pop where the songs are meh, but the value of the song is supposed to be elevated by the choreography and the performance, and personally, I don't really vibe with that notion, which is why I appreciate, as much as SuperM releases silly songs like Jopping, they also have songs like Dangerous Woman, Wish You Were Here, or I Can't Stand the Rain, where the songs actually showcases their vocal abilities. I do think it comes down to preference, because I know some people love watching the live performances of songs and being able to see the choreography in order to make judgments about the song, but for me, I want to be able to listen to the song as its own and appreciate it without seeing the choreography. Because to me, these groups are supposed to be music groups, so I think the music should be able to speak for themselves. But I know a lot of people would consider these groups to be like performance groups, so the choreography and the music needs to work in order for them to, appreciate the music, which is perfectly okay, but I lean more towards the former. And I think in that regard, SuperM does well. I barely see SuperM's live performances, but I can listen to their music on its own and I still like the music. However, I do want to say, even if I enjoy the songs are not exceptional to the point that I'm like,
wow, this is amazing. Let's keep the group running forever.
The only time I'm wowed by their music is the whole One, Monster and Infinity gimmick, but even then, it's just like one gimmick. Apart from that, the group is just There, the music is fine enough, but it doesn't reach the heights of what is promised to come from the Avengers of K-pop. As a result, it's hard for me to see the group as a musical and artistic endeavor rather than a cash grab. The question I always have for SuperM is, why do we even have this group? It's not strange for artists within the same agency to form a sub-unit. SM usually does this thing called SM Station where their artists release singles. It is here that we often see cross-collaboration from members from different groups, but it's rare for these combos to be an actual group. The only time I remember a collaboration sticking from SM Station is probably with EXO Sechan, but that's not really a surprise because Sehun and Chanyeol are both from EXO, the same group. It just feels inevitable that EXO will have another sub-unit apart from EXO Chenbaekshi or EXO CBX. The only reason I can think of why SuperM exists in the first place is because SM and Capitol Records want to capitalize on the popularity of K-pop around that time period, particularly in America. In 2019, when SuperM debuted, BTS and Blackpink were making splashes outside of South Korea. In particular, they were becoming more popular in America. The mainstream success of those groups proved that K-pop has the ability to break into Western market. While there has been precedents before BTS and Blackpink, like Wonder Girls and Girls' Generation, were pretty active in the West before them, none of them has the mainstream recognition of BTS and Blackpink. Anyway, I reckon a lot of agencies have this perception that if you can make it in America and in the West, then you are legitimized. It's not anything new for people from Asian countries to want that Western validation. After all, there's a lot of Asian companies that have token white people on their teams to make it seem like their company is the real deal. But because of this whole thing, it's hard not to see that SuperM is merely an attempt to get some of that Western market pie. The reason I am somewhat confident in saying this is because SuperM does more promotion in North America and in Europe. Like their first tour had more North American stops, and some of their songs have more English than regular K-pop songs. It is entirely possible because of the pandemic, it prevented them from touring to other countries, but when the borders reopened, they resumed mostly promoting in the West too. That's not to say that they didn't have any promotion in South Korea. During the pandemic, they worked a lot there, doing brand deals, a virtual concert, live streams, and they also had their own variety show, but I feel like the focus had always been more on making a name in the Western market. Another reason why I think SuperM could have failed is, I wonder if for a lot of people, their first reaction to SuperM is
this a ripoff of BTS?
Because to be honest, when the group was first announced, my sister's first reaction is, was SM trying to make their own BTS? It's hard not to draw comparisons to BTS with SuperM, even if in general, I feel like any K-pop boy bands will draw comparisons to BTS because a lot of people are unaware that K-pop is more than just BTS and Blackpink. Regardless, I still see where my sister was coming from. SuperM has 7 members and BTS has 7 members, but to me what feels more like proof that SuperM is a response to BTS is the fact that their songs are kind of similar, particularly to BTS's older songs like Fire or Blood, Sweat and Tears. Not to mention the focus on choreography and performance, which is also something that BTS is known for. I wouldn't be surprised if BTS was on the mood board when they were forming SuperM. Don't quote me on that, but it is possible that SM and Capitol Records had BTS in mind during the conception of SuperM. In terms of performance and impact, SuperM did fine enough. As I mentioned before, it became mostly a blip in the history of K-pop. I think the biggest reason for the group's success is because the group already has an inbuilt audience from the SHINee, EXO, and NCT fandoms. And I feel this is something that SM and Capitol Records were banking on when they picked the members of SuperM. But just because the members have inbuilt audiences, it doesn't mean they will immediately translate into becoming fans of SuperM. In my opinion, the group still had to establish itself as its own entity. And these things take time. BTS is not an overnight success. It was a long journey of establishing themselves in the musical scene and establishing themselves as a group worthy to be invested in by the fans. Likewise for Blackpink, who I know is very infamous for not releasing a lot of songs, but prior to 2019, they tried to consistently release singles at least and make appearances on variety shows, fashion shows, and other things. If we are to put a number, it might take roughly 2 to 3 years for a group to have a solid fan base, but then it's a matter of using that momentum and continuing to promote so they will be able to get an even stronger fan base that can help this group break into the mainstream. I think this is where the downfall of SuperM comes in. They expected that immediately all of the fans from the members' original groups will be fans of SuperM when that's not going to be the case. And SuperM needed time to establish themselves as a group to the public. But even then, by the time SuperM would establish enough roots to be a group worthy of being noticed, they wouldn't be able to continue promotions because the mandatory military service that men have to do in South Korea, which was looming for a lot of the older members, namely Baekhyun, Taemin, and Kai. And when SuperM loses those older members, the group would just be NCT. And then what? This actually became somewhat of a reality when Taemin and Baekhyun enlisted. SuperM tried to promote without them. They had a concert where Taemin and Baekhyun were projected onto the screen behind the other members, and it looks like they were fallen tributes on the Hunger Games. The group just became NCT Feat Kai. The mandatory military service is also why, as much as I really hate this practice, when new groups debut, especially for boy bands, the members tend to be young because the agencies want to make sure that the group has enough time and momentum to gather fans before the band has to take a hiatus to accommodate for the members' enlistment. I think the fact that SuperM was missing a significant amount of members so early in the conception of the group, that impacted their momentum. The looming military service was also a matter of contention for a lot of fans of the members' original groups. With Taemin, Baekhyun, and Kai about to go on military service, why are they focusing on this new group when they should be focusing on their own groups and their own solo careers? Why are the resources and their time being poured into this new group? I wouldn't be surprised if some of these people who have these thoughts do not end up supporting SuperM because of this reason. But I also think another element of that is there's this fear that if SuperM ends up successful, then the members within SuperM won't return to their original groups. Some people can say that SuperM has always been a temporary thing, but with the amount of investment being put into the group, it's not too far-fetched to say that SM and Capitol Records really wanted this group to take off and be a long-term band. The only reason I am saying that is because they attempted to create a female SuperM. SM created the group Got the Beat with heavy hitters like Boa, Taeyeon and Hyoyeon from Girls' Generation, Seulgi and Wendy from Red Velvet, and Karina and Winter from aespa. Despite that, it's so clear that Got the Beat is meant to be temporary because their output and promotion were much less than SuperM. They released one EP and then they didn't even tour. They had several appearances on like variety shows, but that's most of their promotion. That's why I'm saying Got the Beat feels temporary and like a side project. So with the scale of promotion that SuperM had, it's not too outlandish to think that they had long-term plans for SuperM. But I don't think that we will be seeing SuperM anytime soon, considering their tepid success and the fact that a lot of the members have already left SM. One of the very few good things from this group is probably the fact that fans of one group gets to discover new groups through the members. But again, let me know what you think. Do you like SuperM? What's your favorite SuperM song? Or do you just not care about SuperM at all? Oh, yes. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you like this video, why don't you like it? And then share it and maybe even comment on the video. And also consider subscribing to the channel too for more commentaries, video essays, chill videos, I guess, and other fun stuff. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. I really want to make a Daredevil video, so maybe you can anticipate Daredevil video from me. Have a good night, day, dusk, dawn, midnight, whatever time it is you are watching this video, because every step you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you. And remember, when we're jumping and we're popping, we're jopping. Yeah, we're jopping. Bye.